Hi everyone, I hope you're all good. I really, throughout my whole pregnancy, I knew that I wanted to film a birth video, regardless of what my experience was, because throughout my pregnancy, I got a lot of comfort in watching other girls' birth stories. I just find them so interesting. I always have a good cry at them, so I just thought I would film one. So, first of all, I think we have a little introduction to make. He's sitting in his sling. This, I don't know if you can see him, there we go. This is Roman Lawless-Thomson, and he was born on the 1st of February at 25 to 3 in the afternoon, weighing £6 and 9 ounces. So I'm going to talk through how he came to be here. So I went into, so it was the night of the 1st, no, it wasn't the night of the 1st, it was the night of the 31st of January. I went to bed, was feeling a bit restless. Actually, earlier in the evening, I sneezed and I thought I kind of peed myself, but I was like, oh, like, I don't know, because I did kind of need the toilet at the time. I was like, oh, I must have just peed myself because that's pregnancy, isn't it? But there was a part of me that was like, I wasn't entirely sure, and when I checked, like this, there's going to be loads of TMI moments in this, by the way, but you don't mind, hopefully. Like when I checked, it didn't smell of anything and it was clear, so I was like, oh, that's a wee bit different. So anyway, I went to bed that night. Was a bit restless. Midnight came on the 1st of February. Still a bit restless. I maybe managed to get like 1 hour of sleep, and then at 2:15 in the morning, I felt a gush. So that was my waters going. It's such a surreal feeling when it finally happens. So at this point, I was 38 weeks plus 5 days. So we really weren't prepared for it. Some of you will know that me and Carl have just moved into our first home. So this was a week from the day that we moved in. So it was all a bit tight, and I can't believe he came early. Didn't expect it whatsoever. So my waters broke, and I woke Carl up, just kind of letting him know what was going on. I tried to stay as calm as possible, because it is really strange when it does finally start to happen. Like, you think about it your whole pregnancy, and then it actually happens. So straight away, so throughout my pregnancy, I did a hypnobirthing course. I did the Positive Birth Company's digital pack, and I also read their book. So in that course, it just kind of talks about, like, it sounds a bit hippy dippy, like hypnobirthing, but really it's about just knowledge about what is happening to your body at each stage of labour, and just like not being afraid of what's happening, because you know when you're feeling something, you know what's actually happening within your body and why it's doing that. So breathing techniques is the number one thing for me that got me through this labour, and it got me to progress so much quicker than I expected to. So obviously my waters went, I felt really anxious straight away, so I was like, right, I'm going to do my breathing techniques. Now the breathing techniques are kind of more focused towards when you're going through, in hypnobirthing they say surgeries, but I don't mind saying contractions, it doesn't have any negative connotations for me. So the breathing techniques are primarily for when you're going through contractions, but I was like, nope, I just want to calm down, I just want to get a few deep breaths in. So the breathing technique is breathing in for a count of 4 and breathing out for a count of 8. This basically was how I breathed constantly for 12 hours. There was not one breath I took that wasn't in that pattern, and Carl was fantastic, and he counted me through every single breath of my labour. He never left my side, and he was doing his deep breathing as well, so hopefully that calmed him down a bit. But anyway, so I started doing my deep breathing, and straight after my waters broke, I actually started to contract quite quickly. And in the hypnobirthing course, they recommend an app called the Freya app. And basically what it is it's guided meditations, but also there's a button that you press when you start to go through a contraction, and it counts you in and out of your breath. So I started doing that, I started pressing it in and out, in and out, and then I was like, I really wanted to go for a bath, because I knew in my labour I really wanted to use water, because I know it can be used as pain relief. But I wasn't sure like what the protocol was if your waters went first, because I know that there can be a risk of infection. So anyway, I phoned up triage, just let them know what was happening, and the woman was like, yeah, feel free to go for a bath. So Carl ran a bath for me, we got fairy lights out. That's another thing in hypnobirthing they talk about, is creating a nice atmosphere, because it induces oxytocin in your body, which allows you to progress quicker, because your body's relaxed, it doesn't feel in danger, and feels like a safe environment to give birth in. So we had fairy lights on, I had a clary sage room spray, which was fantastic, by the way. I feel that really helped me, my contractions to come really quick. So Carol ran me a bath, I got in the bath, the water felt lovely, but the one thing that I absolutely hated was contracting while lying on my back. Like, that is by far the worst contractions, was when I was on my back. So I stayed in there for maybe 5 minutes. I was like, the water feels great, but how I feel when I'm lying on my back is not good at all. So I knew that for the rest of my labour I was going to try as much as possible not to be lying down, because that's another thing in hypnobirthing. They always talk about the best positions to give birth in, which is upright, forward and open, just to allow the baby to move down with the help of gravity. So I got out of the bath, and then I just sat on my birth ball in this exact spot, actually. And I was bouncing, doing my breathing, and I think we got to about 7 o'clock and we were like, right, I think we should make a move. Now, obviously, because of the situation with coronavirus, I was really anxious about going in too early, because I know that if I went in prior to being 4 centimetres, that Carl might be sent away, and the thought of not having him with me there was horrific. But I just tried not to focus on it, because I know that would have stunted my contractions. So just tried to stay calm. Whatever was going to happen was going to happen, and I was absolutely adamant I was going to have a positive experience either way. I would get through it, whatever. So we got in the car, we made our journey to the hospital. My contractions did stop a little bit, but I kept sniffing my clary sage room spray, which really, really helped. So we got to the hospital, and Carl took me in, and it was great. I actually knew the midwife that met us there, which was it was so lovely, because a familiar face when you're feeling so vulnerable is amazing. So she took us into triage. Thankfully I was the only person in triage at that point, so Carl was allowed to come in, which I was so grateful for, because I have never had an examination before. I've never had a smear test, so this was the first time that I was getting something so intrusive done to me. But at this point, do you know what, the contractions were coming and I didn't really care. I just wanted to know how far along I was. So anyway, the midwife gave me an examination and a sweep at the same time, and she said I was 2 centimetres. So to be honest, with how regular my contractions were coming, I was surprised at how little dilated it was. But anyway, I just wanted to stay positive, kept doing my breathing techniques. At this point I actually started to throw up, which wasn't great. I had chili con carne the night before for my dinner, so there was a whole lot of stuff in that bowl, kidney beans, everything, disgusting. Anyway, so we then got moved to, before that we got COVID tested. So I got tested and Carl got tested. I didn't care about the test. I didn't find it uncomfortable because of what was going on in my belly. I was like, do whatever you need to do, it doesn't bother me. Carl found it a little bit more uncomfortable, but thankfully we actually didn't find out on that day what we were, so we're kind of like, what's going on? But we actually got a text the next morning saying that we were negative, so that's fantastic. But they obviously allowed Carl to stay, so they must have knew that we were negative. So we then got moved to the antenatal ward. We got put in a side room, and thankfully as well Carl got to stay with me because it was a private room, which I was so grateful for. I'm just so thankful that Carl got to stay with me throughout the entire experience, because I don't know how women do it on their own. I just don't understand. I could not have done it without him. So anyway, at this point things started to pick up a notch. I felt possessed. So I just felt I was just in such a zone. I was just doing my breathing techniques. I had this app on constantly telling me to breathe in for 4, out for 8, and also because of the pressure of Roman pushing down, I couldn't, oh there's the door, sorry guys, I couldn't actually tell, you can just go past. I couldn't actually tell when I was in a contraction and when I wasn't, so the midwife would be like, let me know when this one's passed, and I didn't know because it just felt constant. So that's why I just did my breathing throughout instead of there's a contraction, do the breathing, stop, there's a contraction. I just did it the whole way through my labour, non-stop. At this point, Carl started to get a little bit freaked out because he was like, Ty, you need to, like, please look at me. Like, he was trying to obviously comfort me. I was in the zone. I could not look at him. I don't know where my head was at, but Carl was getting worried because I wasn't looking at him. So yeah, what happened then? Oh yeah, so in my birth plan, I really wanted to give birth in the alongside midwifery unit at Forth Valley Royal Hospital. Because I was a low risk pregnancy, thankfully, and I know that unit is kind of more centred around the whole hypnobirthing thing, like the dimmed lights, birth pool, things like that. The kind of respect that you're doing hypnobirthing. So it was great. A midwife that I actually had at my booking appointment came in, Charlene, and I was delighted to see her. Well, delighted as I could be while I was contracting a lot. So then I got taken to a beautiful room. We had a double bed, we had a birth pool, the lights were dimmed, the radio was on at that point, there was a projector with like the moon and the stars. It was beautiful. Not that at that point I was very appreciative of it, I was just in agony. So basically I crawled onto the bed, I lay on my side for quite a while. So this was at 10 o'clock, so I got into the room and I was offered another examination, which I accepted. At this point, the examinations were quite intense, but I just did my breathing through them and I found out I was 3 centimetres. So I got examined at 7 in the morning and now it was 10 and I'd only dilated 1 centimetre. So panic took over, I had a bit of a wobble, but I was like, I need to keep my head in this because this is where it's going to go downhill if I do not keep my act together. So I just put that out of my mind and I continued to do my breathing with the help from Carl. He comforted me, he counted me through my breaths, and we went from there. So from there on, I was lying on my side at that point and the contractions were quite painful. They were quite sore, so I was encouraged. Oh, I forgot to say, there was a student midwife as part of my care. I got asked earlier on in my pregnancy if I'd be interested in having a student midwife. Now, initially, I didn't want a student midwife. I wrote that in my birth plan, but I actually met her at a few of my appointments in my pregnancy before she asked me, and I just got on really well with her. We just had a really nice connection, so I was like, do you know what, let's go for it. So we contacted her, Stephanie. She came in. It was so lovely because the 2 midwives that delivered Roman I'd met previously throughout my pregnancy, which is amazing. I felt so comfortable in their care. So yeah. So from 10 o'clock onwards, I was contracting by bouncing on a birth ball. Initially, I was lying on my side, which wasn't very good. So Carol encouraged me to get up, get onto all fours or get on my birth ball. So I kind of went back and forward between them for a while. Now, one thing I would say is, in the moment you feel, oh my god, like this is awful, but I can say that now that I look back on it, I feel like it moved very quickly. So I did my breathing techniques constantly, every single breath, contracting for 5 hours, for 4 hours, from 10 till 2-ish. At this point, about 2 o'clock, I really, really, really wanted to go in the birth pool. I just felt like, because I know a lot of women have said that it helped them with their pain management. Sorry, I'm jumping back and forward, things keep popping into my head. When I started in that room, they went, do you want to try gas and air? I went, yep, absolutely. I took 1 puff of it and I hated it. I just felt out my face, but still in the same amount of like intensity. So I was like, it's not relieving my pain whatsoever. I was much better feeling with it and doing my breathing techniques. So that's how I kind of progressed in my labour. So it got to 2 o'clock and I was begging them. I was like, please run the pool. I really, really want to get in. And I was also saying at this point, so we're now going to get into the kind of TMI stuff, guys. Sorry about this. So I basically was like, I need to poo. Like I have so much pressure pushing down in my bum. So they weren't initially going to examine me until 3 o'clock, but I think they could tell how quickly it was progressing for me. So the two midwives were there, and the senior midwife examined me, and the examination was very intense. This was probably the most uncomfortable I was in the whole labour, but it was followed by the best moment ever. She said, "We're not going to have time to run the bath. You're 9 centimetres dilated." I was absolutely ecstatic, or as ecstatic as I could be in the state I was in. So yeah, at that point I feel like I just zenned out. I was just so happy. I knew that we were at the end, and so at this point I was obviously lying on my back for the examination, and then I was like, right, if I'm not going to be able to give birth in the pool, I definitely want to be upright. So it took every piece of strength in me to get up and get onto all fours, and I leaned over a pillow and I got ready to go. This was a beautiful point for me, because Carl hadn't had much attention through this whole thing. He was just focusing on me, telling me to breathe. I wasn't even looking at him, and he just came up beside me and he had tears in his eyes, and and he kissed me on the cheek, and he said he was so proud of me, and that was just like one of the best moments. Even though like I knew like there was a really intense stage about to happen, like the pushing stage, I was so happy. I just couldn't believe I'd done that on my own without pain relief, and there is no shame in pain relief. Like, oh my god, like I just don't like feeling out of it. Like I never have. I'm not a big fan of taking painkillers anyway, so that was the best option for me. So yeah, it was time. And they're in hypnobirthing, they talk about this period of time between what they call the up stage, when your uterus is pulling up, and when you're about to start pushing, and you get a gap in your contractions. So for about maybe 5 minutes, I just kind of leaned over this pillow. I just gathered my thoughts, because I wasn't in as much intensity at that point, because my contractions had stopped. So 5 minutes passed, and then there was just this will from inside me that needed me to push. Like, it's so true what they say, that you actually don't actively have to push, your body just does it. It's crazy, it just happens. So anyway, I started pushing, and at this point the student midwife was the only midwife in the room, and she asked Carol to ring the buzzer for the senior midwife to come in, because she technically wasn't allowed to deliver a baby on her own because she was a student. So, well, let's just say the senior midwife didn't make it in time. Within 2 pushes, this little guy came into the world, and loads of you will know that we didn't know what the gender was, and he was born, and Carol told me it was a boy, and they passed me through. They passed him through my legs. Obviously, the cord and the placenta was still inside. The cord was attached. I rolled onto my back, and he was lying on my chest, and it was the first time I met my baby, and it was just the single most incredible moment in my life. Like, you'll never experience a high like it. I would do the whole thing again just for that one moment. And I had Carl by my side, and I had 2 wonderful midwives with me, and he was amazing. He started crying, his eyes were open, and within a few minutes he'd latched onto me, which was the most incredible feeling. And then 25 minutes later my placenta was birthed, which felt more substantial than I expected it to, but I mean, you have your baby lying on your chest, so I wasn't really focused on that. So my placenta came out, and yeah, we just started this wonderful, they say the golden hour. We had a golden 8 hours together, which was incredible. So he was lying on my chest. They examined me to see if there was any damage. Now, the speed that Roman exited caused a bit of damage, but I didn't care. So I had a 2nd degree tear and a couple of internal grazes. Now, that doesn't sound very nice, but I didn't care. I honestly didn't care. So they got me up on this big, it's like a throne with stirrups, and I was starkers at this point. I didn't care. I gave birth fully naked, on all fours, and I feel like I'm going so TMI, but I just feel like it's good to be honest with you guys. You guys are my friends. I did do a little bit of a poo when I gave birth, but who cares? You know, everyone poos. It's great. I actually have a photo of Carl, not of Carl, Carl took of me, because I actually really wanted him to film the birth, but things moved too quickly, and he took a photo when Roman's head was out. It's just the best photo ever. Anytime someone like I'm speaking to someone, I'm like, do you want to see the photo? Like, I don't care. If any of you want to see it, just let me know. I'll send you. It's great. So yeah, so I had a little bit of damage done. So I got up on this big throne thing with stirrups, and this was the one time I was like, right, I'm not in as much pain now because I'm not contracting. So let's give the Gassionaire a go. So I had local anaesthetic, which was painful to get done, but at this point Carol was doing skin to skin with Roman, and it was absolutely beautiful, so I didn't care. I was just staring in absolute awe, and I was on the Gassionaire. Now, it's so funny because I absolutely hated the Gassionaire in labour, but oh, afterwards I was high as a kite. I don't even know what I was saying. I actually invited both of the midwives to mine and Carol's wedding, which was not planned, but I was like, you're coming to the wedding, guys, you are great. To which they accepted, so I'll need to follow through on that. But anyway, once that was done, yeah, I just got to go back to the bed. Me and Carl lay on the bed with Roman, and we had cuddles, and then I went for a shower. I got ready. Actually, a lot of women say that they feel quite faint in the shower because they look down and they see their belly, and it's like not got a baby in it anymore. Like, that's quite strange. But I never really found my bump got particularly big, so when he wasn't in there, it didn't really look like it went down obviously, but it didn't look much different, and I was just so happy he was here. So and I'm a fainter, guys, like I faint at everything, so I'm really pleased I didn't faint in the shower. Got nice and clean. I did a couple of urine I did a couple of pees for them to check that I could do that, which was fine. They checked him over. He was £6 and 9 ounces, and everything was perfect with him. He was just perfect. So we did skin to skin. I hope he's alright. I need to give him a wee sugar. Yeah. So So this was at 4 o'clock. I was getting my placenta encapsulated by a lovely woman called Jeanette. Her Instagram is Sublime Birthing, and she came and picked up the placenta, and it was such a shame because of coronavirus. Carol couldn't go down and give it to her and then come back up, so my lovely student midwife Stephanie went down, dropped off my placenta, and I actually received my placenta capsules one day later. Yeah, one day. So that was the Monday, not the Tuesday, but the Wednesday morning. So it was so quick, and yeah, I'm really enjoying taking them. My milk supplies came in. It's really, really strong, so I'm really happy with that. So anyway, we just chilled. Carl got a really, really, really bad headache. I think it was the stress, because he did a full shift. Like he pulled through. But he was in a lot of pain with his head, and it was such a shame because he was spending his first moments with his son, but he was in just so much pain. We just really, really wanted to go home, and he couldn't get paracetamol because he wasn't an inpatient, so that was rotten as well. But anyway, it got to about 11:30 before he got his physical examination done. So yeah, he got his physical examination done. Everything was great. He's just absolutely perfect. I just can't believe how lucky I am. Throughout my pregnancy, you're having a baby, but you don't actually expect a baby at the end of it. So I got a baby at the end of it, and he was beautiful and healthy and happy, and I was healthy and happy, and I'd had an incredible experience. So it got to just after midnight, and we got discharged, and we got to come home with our gorgeous boy. So just under 24 hours from when my waters broke, we were home with our baby. It was just absolutely fantastic. It was incredible. Absolutely amazing. So he's a week old today, so that was 1 week ago. It's been the quickest week of my whole life, the best week of my whole life, the hardest week of my whole life. We've learnt so much, but me and Carl are just absolutely adoring being parents. It's just the best thing in the whole world. He's perfect. He's doing so well. He had his heel prick test. He didn't even flinch. He's been feeding amazing. The first day was really hard with feeding because I don't think I had my positioning correct. So the nips were stinging. But we're getting there, we've got a better latch going on now. I can feed him and not be in pain, which is incredible, because I know a lot of women really struggle with it, and they get mastitis and everything, and it is agony. The first day was very comparable to the labour. It was like, what is this feeling? But we've pulled through, so I'm hoping that it's just an upward hill from here. I know there'll be bumps in the road. I've had a couple of breakdowns sitting on the toilet. The recovery has been quite difficult, but we're a week in and things are starting to feel a lot better. I'm starting to feel a lot better. I've just been on an absolute high. We've had no sleep. Well, we're getting there. We're starting to get into a routine. We know that he needs his nappy changed, and then he needs a feed after that to settle him down, and then he'll sleep for a couple of hours. But both of us are kind of scared to sleep at the same time as him. But like, I just feel like I want to keep an eye on him. But I'm sure we'll get used to it. And I just want to thank every single person that has wished us well and welcomed Roman so beautifully into the world. He's very lucky to know all of you, and all my friends. So thank you so much. I really hope you've enjoyed this video, and I just want to say that if any of you are expectant mums or birth partners, please look forward to your labour, because I know it's the fear of the unknown if you're a first time mum, but it's followed by the single most amazing moment of your life, and I would do it all over again in an instant for him, because he's just absolutely perfect. So what I'll do, even though he's pretty settled now, is I'll take him out so you can see him. So I've got him in this little sling. This was actually from the baby box from the Scottish Government. I've just realised I've only got a bra underneath this. Oh well. You'll have all seen me feeding him on my Instagram stories, so I'll take him partially out so you can see him. There we go. He's got his bib on because he's a little bit spewy sometimes. Oh, Dum Dum's gone. Right, that's good. At least you'll be able to see his face. There he is. That's my little man. That's my little man. He's so precious, guys. I just want to eat him. He's so gorgeous. I just think he looks like Cal, which is good for me. I love how Cal looks, so I'm happy with it. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. If you've got any questions at all, please get in contact with me, because I love nothing more than talking about birth and babies and feeding, and yeah, so please give me a wee message. But thank you so much for watching, and if any of you want me to do more videos, I'd love you to let me know, because it's my favourite topic. I love being a mum. So yeah, let me know if you want to see anything else. And yeah, have a really good day, guys. I'll see you later. Bye bye.